it was pretty awful. So when they took me, I was just by myself in this cold plane, wondering what my baby was going to look like when I got there. And he had clinically deteriorated when I was there. So the baby that I left here was not the baby that I saw there. And when I got there, he was hooked up to all different machines with different people that I didn't know. And yeah, it was quite a shock. Yeah.
It's traumatic that the infant has to be placed into a unit that's enclosed to be put on a plane to be shipped out, and the separation from the mother at that time, and then there's no support no family support can go along with them.
We get a lot of patients from the smaller surrounding communities. And if they are not a designated birthing center, they are sent to Terrace at about 36 to 38 weeks. Sometimes they are staying in hotels up to a month before babies are delivered. Sometimes they're able to bring their families with them. Sometimes they're completely separated from their families, or they're in one-room hotel rooms as they're waiting for their babies to be delivered.
The scope of the catchment area, it's from the Yukon border, Iskut, Telegraph, Dease Lake, the Niska territory, the Gitxsan territory, and we're talking about 11,000 Gitxsan, 9,000 Niska, and then from there the Wet'suwet'en and Smithers, all the way through to Burns Lake. And then you go west to the Haida and down the coast to Clem 2, including Kitkatla, Gitgat, many communities, Mitlakatla, Lac Willam's, and Kitimat, Haisla, all of them are coming here. There's 100,000 people, and of those, 50% of them are Indigenous. 50% of them with the highest birth rates. And then the young people with all that industry that's here, again, it's huge. 70% of the investment in BC is happening here. So we need to be able to service that growth going forward.
Yeah, so Mills is a busy department and we seem to be getting busier. So Mills delivers 300 to 350 babies a year, multiple women laboring and babies being born for all different sorts of things, some high risk, some low risk. Yeah, and so we're always busy. I was very fortunate in the fact that we were only there for a week. And some of the moms that were there for way longer. But it was, even in that week, it was isolating. It was very solitary. It was lonely. When families are able to be together in their community, they can pull on support from everybody around them. They have their communities, especially the First Nations communities. They come together, they bring gifts, they bring food for people. The hospital does a great job on food, but it's nothing like having a home-cooked meal, right? Being able to have that family support, somebody to cry on that you trust, that can just be there and hold your hand and physically be present, even if there's nothing that they can do. Same with having your partners there. Sometimes when we send people out, their partners can't go with them. There are family obligations, there are work obligations, and then they're completely separated from them. And the two parents are no longer together. The mother, the birthing parent, doesn't have her support system at all.
But you know, that separation is there. It's traumatic. They're compounded when there's separation from the baby, when they're separated from their caregivers, their family, their husband, their children, their mother, their father, in our case, the community that surrounds them.
My first thought when I heard that we could be getting a special care nursery was to cheer.
So this is an addition, and to put it in now makes sense financially, planning-wise. You know, they can make it fit and make it work. But if you try to add it on later, how's that going to work? I'm glad they're letting us help them to be part of it. And it's a huge ask. The project is a $14.5 million project to build a neonatal ICU. We're going to go to the corporates and then to the Indigenous communities who are stakeholders here. But, you know, the average folk that's in the community, I would challenge you to make this a priority in your donations. And together we can make it happen.
Bringing in a special care nursery, we're also going to be leveled up a tier. So we're going to go up to a tier 3 in care. And what that translates is that we will be able to care for mums and babes at 34 weeks gestation and higher. And we will be able to, for planned expected things at 34 weeks and higher, and unexpected things at 32 weeks gestation and higher. And that also translates to repatriation. We will be able to get those babies back and care for them earlier in the special care nursery after 32 weeks corrected age gestation here. Get them home earlier. I want people to know that when they support this addition of a NICU, they're also supporting the doctors, nurses, midwives that live in this community and have chosen to come and work here. We would never want people to have to choose quality health care over living in a beautiful place. Those should be able to go hand in hand. And by providing the NICU, we're giving one more opportunity to provide quality of life and quality of healthcare with also a beautiful environment. We all know friends or family where the mother or the newborn have had to be transferred out of the region, and it doesn't have to be that way.
You know, I think that every project we have, there's a personal element in it. And I know that in talking to the people of the Northwest, every family has a story of how their family was separated by the inability for us to care for the infants closer to home.
We can absolutely do this.
Be able to see this come to fruition is just going to be amazing.
You can make a difference. We need this level of care closer to home.